Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to have you here as we explore the fascinating world of Ceratopogonidae, commonly known as biting midges. The title of our talk is Ceratopogonidae biting midges, Morphology, Ecology, and Medical Importance. Over the next few minutes, we'll take a closer look at their physical features, their ecological roles, and why they matter to our health. So let's get started and dive into this intriguing subject. Today, I want to introduce you to the family Ceratopogonidae, which is the scientific name for a group of tiny insects we often encounter. These insects are more commonly known as biting midges, punkies, or no-see-ums. As the names suggest, they are quite small and can be a nuisance because they bite. They belong to the order Diptera, which you might recognize as the group that includes true flies. There are over 6,000 species of these biting midges worldwide, so they are incredibly diverse and widespread. Understanding their classification and diversity helps us grasp their ecological role and why they can be such a concern in various environments. Throughout this presentation, we'll explore their behaviors, habitats, and the impact they have on humans and ecosystems alike. Let's take a closer look at the taxonomy of these insects. Starting with the kingdom, they belong to Animalia, which includes all animals. Moving down, they are part of the phylum Arthropoda, characterized by their jointed limbs and exoskeletons. Within Arthropoda, they fall under the class Insecta, which is the largest group of animals, including all insects. Specifically, they belong to the order Diptera, commonly known as the true flies, distinguished by having a single pair of wings. Within this order, they are classified under the family Ceratopogonidae, which is a group of small biting midges. Now, when we look at the key genera within this family, we see Culicoids, Leptoconops, and Forcipamia. These genera are particularly important because they include species that are significant from a medical and veterinary standpoint, often as vectors of diseases. Understanding this taxonomy helps us see how these insects fit into the broader classification of animals, and it highlights their unique features that are relevant to their role in ecosystems and their impact on health. This taxonomy forms the foundation for understanding their behavior, biology, and the importance of managing their populations. Let's take a closer look at the general morphology of these small flies. They are typically between 1 and 4 millimeters in size, making them quite tiny. Their slender antennae are a distinctive feature, and you'll notice they also have long, segmented palps, which are important sensory structures. When it comes to their mouthparts, you'll see that females have piercing and sucking mouthparts, which they use to feed. This is a key point because it relates directly to their behavior and how they interact with their hosts. Lastly, the wing patterns are quite useful for identification purposes. These patterns can vary between species and help us distinguish one from another, which is essential for accurate identification and understanding their biology. Overall, these morphological features give us valuable clues about their lifestyle and how to identify them correctly. Let's talk about sexual dimorphism in these insects. Females are blood feeders or hematophagous, which means they feed on blood. This behavior is crucial for their reproductive cycle. On the other hand, males have a different dietary preference. They feed mainly on nectar or plant juices. You'll notice that these differences extend to their physical features. Females and males have distinct mouthparts, adapted to their specific feeding habits. Females have specialized mouthparts for piercing skin and extracting blood, while males have mouthparts suited for sipping nectar or plant fluids. Additionally, their antennae are different as well, often reflecting their sensory needs. Females might be more attuned to detecting hosts, while males focus on locating flowering plants. Understanding these differences helps us see how sexual dimorphism directly influences their behavior and ecology, which is a key theme in understanding their role in the environment and in disease transmission. Let's take a closer look at the life cycle of this organism. It begins with an egg, which is the starting point of its development. From there, it hatches into a larva, and interestingly, these larvae are mostly aquatic or semi-aquatic, meaning they spend a lot of their early life in water. After the larval stage, it moves into the pupa stage, where it undergoes significant transformation. This process is called complete metamorphosis because the organism changes dramatically from one stage to the next. Finally, it emerges as an adult, ready to reproduce and continue the cycle. Understanding these stages helps us see how adaptable and complex their development is, especially in relation to their environment and life cycle strategies. Let's take a look at the habitat and distribution of these insects. They are found all around the world, but they are especially common in tropical and subtropical regions. This means you'll often encounter them in warm, humid environments. They prefer moist areas like marshes, muddy grounds, and dense vegetation, which provide the perfect conditions for their survival. When it comes to their larvae, you'll typically find them in soil, in dung, or even in water bodies. These habitats are crucial for their development and reproduction. This widespread presence and preference for moist environments really highlight how adaptable and resilient these insects are within their ecosystems. Today, I want to talk about the feeding behavior of these creatures. Females, in particular, tend to bite vertebrates such as mammals, birds, and reptiles. These bites can be quite painful, which highlights the potential danger they pose to their prey or even to humans. It's also important to note that these animals are primarily active during the night or at twilight, meaning they are nocturnal or crepuscular feeders. This activity pattern helps them avoid predators and increases their success in hunting. Understanding these feeding habits is crucial because it connects to the overall theme of their survival strategies and their role in the ecosystem. Now, let's take a look at the medical importance of these vectors. First, they are known to be carriers of viruses, such as the bluetongue virus, which can have significant impacts on livestock health. This highlights how crucial it is to understand their role in disease transmission. Next, they are also responsible for transmitting filarial worms, which can cause serious health issues in both animals and humans. Recognizing this helps us appreciate the broader impact these vectors have beyond just nuisance bites. Additionally, these vectors can trigger allergic reactions in humans, which can range from mild to severe. This aspect underscores the importance of protection and control measures for public health. Overall, understanding their medical importance ties into our broader discussion about managing and controlling vector populations to safeguard both animal and human health. Now, let's talk about the veterinary importance of cheilicoids. These tiny insects are actually significant because they transmit serious diseases like bluetongue and African horse sickness. These illnesses can have a major impact on various animals, including cattle, sheep, and horses. It's not just about animal health. There's also a substantial economic impact involved. Outbreaks can lead to costly control measures, trade restrictions, and production losses. Understanding how cheilicoids affect these animals and the economy helps us appreciate why monitoring and controlling their populations are so crucial in veterinary medicine and animal health management. Now, let's take a closer look at the epidemiology of this disease. The transmission is actually influenced by several key factors. First, seasonality plays a significant role, especially in areas with wet or warm climates. These conditions create the perfect environment for the disease to spread more rapidly. Next, breeding sites are crucial. Standing water or other stagnant areas serve as breeding grounds for vectors like mosquitoes, which are often responsible for transmission. Lastly, the host population density matters a lot. When there are more hosts in a given area, the chances of transmission increase, leading to potential outbreaks. Understanding these factors helps us better anticipate and control the spread within the broader context of disease management. Now, let's talk about control and management strategies. One key approach is environmental management, specifically targeting breeding sites like stagnant water where mosquitoes lay their eggs. By removing or managing these sites, we can significantly reduce mosquito populations. Another important method involves using insecticides, such as larvicides to target the larvae in water and adulticides to control adult mosquitoes. These chemicals can be very effective when applied correctly and at the right times. We also have personal protection options like repellents and protective clothing. These are essential for reducing individual exposure, especially in high-risk areas. Finally, protecting livestock is crucial, particularly in areas where animals are a common mosquito host. Using nets and stabling animals in enclosed, protected environments can greatly decrease the chances of mosquito bites and disease transmission. All these strategies work together as part of an integrated approach to control and ultimately reduce the impact of mosquito-borne diseases. Let's talk about some of the key challenges we face in controlling these pests. First, their small size makes it really difficult to effectively net or trap them. You can imagine how tiny they are, slipping through even the smallest openings. Next, they have widespread habitats, which means they can thrive in many different environments. This widespread presence makes it hard to target and eliminate them completely. Another major issue is insecticide resistance. Over time, these pests have become resistant to many chemicals we use, which reduces the effectiveness of our control measures. And of course, climate change influences their behavior and distribution. Shifts in temperature and weather patterns can expand their habitats or change their activity periods, adding an extra layer of complexity to control efforts. All these factors highlight just how challenging it is to develop effective, sustainable strategies to manage these pests. So let's take a look at some of the recent research trends that are shaping the future of vector control. First up, molecular species identification. This involves using advanced genetic tools to accurately identify different mosquito species. This is crucial because different species can carry different viruses, and targeted control strategies depend on knowing exactly which species we're dealing with. Next, we're seeing a lot of progress in developing vaccines against transmitted viruses. Vaccines are a game changer because they can directly protect populations and reduce the incidence of diseases like dengue and Zika. This complements other control methods and helps create a more comprehensive approach. We're also seeing innovation in novel repellents and traps. These new tools aim to be more effective, environmentally friendly, and user-friendly, making personal protection and population reduction more practical and sustainable. Finally, genetic control methods, such as the sterile insect technique, are gaining traction. This involves releasing sterilized males into the wild to reduce reproduction rates naturally. It's a promising, environmentally conscious way to suppress mosquito populations without relying on chemical insecticides. All these trends highlight the importance of integrating cutting-edge science with traditional methods, working towards more sustainable and effective vector control strategies that can better protect public health.